I'm John from HydroKleen Global. This morning we're going to walk you through unpacking your HydroKleen equipment package, or you'll often hear us refer to it as your HEP. The reason we're doing this is because the video that is currently in the resource centre is now over 2 years old and it's a little bit out of date. So what we're going to do today is tell you what you're going to receive, and as you unpack it, how you mark it off. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and I'll just get Jed to zoom in on this if you can, Jed. That is your manifest. So from now on, when you receive your HydroKleen equipment package, you will see one of these forms attached to the machine, and it actually has our ticks or checks on it to say that we've ticked it onto the pallet. It's then being checked by somebody else, so there's two checks, and then when you receive it, you actually take it and then tick each item off as you take it off the pallet. It will take you a good hour to unpack your pallet. So we ask that you unpack it all at once so that you can see if anything is missing, because if you come back to us 3 months later and you haven't unpacked it and you've said, I can't find this or I can't find that, we've got the checklist to suggest that really we have packed it on the pallet. So we ask you to unpack it all as soon as you get it to make sure that everything is on the pallet. So you'll get a copy of this when you receive your HEP. So now I'm going to run through what's on your HEP. So the first thing that you see is the machine. Now obviously that takes up the most room. The machine is an updated machine, and I'm going to just point the differences out between the old machine, and I'll get Jed to come over here to the old machine. Some of you would have received one like this with an air compressor system in it. Those are now obsolete, and we've now moved to this model here. And this model here now has two pumps fitted to it. The old model had one pump fitted to it. This now has two pumps fitted to it. So again, I'm just going to turn this around. And Jed, if you can zoom in there, and you can see we've got this pump here and this pump here. So if ever a pump fails, you just simply switch your high pressure line, which plugs into there with the gun on the end of it, and you can switch pumps. What we recommend, there is a section, I think it's video 16 in your resource centre, that tells you to work one pump 1 week and one pump the next week. You should get 6 to 8 years out of these two pumps before they start to wear out. So there's longevity in the pump. You'll also see it's got a gel battery down here. It's a big heavy duty battery, and a gel battery means that it's a solid mass battery. It's not a lead acid battery. The reason we use a gel battery is so we can ship it overseas and tip the machine on its side so that the battery doesn't leak. Now if you have to change that battery, and you will after probably 3 years or 4 years, because it's a 1,000 cycle battery, if you have to change it, you just go and buy a normal car battery that you would put in your car, the same size as that, and you fit it in. But you shouldn't have to do that for the first 3 years. Okay? So that's the new machine. Now, there is a video, as I said, video 16, that tells you in detail more about this machine. You also get 2 bags. You get a cassette bag. That's the cassette bag. That's the bag for the cassettes in the ceiling. And you get a medium-sized bag, and you get a small bag. Now, with the new HEPs, what we've done is we've allowed you to option them up or option them down, and there is a large bag, bigger than the medium bag, that you can add to your option if you wish. Some countries still have big long wall splits. In Australia we don't have them anymore, but we still do make the large bag. So remember that you've got an options list now that you can work from, and you can option up your bags because you know in your country what sort of air conditioners you have, so that you know what size bags you need. The medium size bag will do small air conditioners to medium, but it won't do the old big 10 kilowatt air conditioners. So those are the bags. So you will get 3 bags of your choice. The next thing that you receive is 2 20-litre drums of cleaning agent plus a 5-litre. So a 1 gallon, a 5 gallon and a 5 gallon, or 20 litres, 20 litres and 5 litres. There is enough cleaning agent in there for you to clean about 1,500 air conditioners. That should last you a year. This has been recently changed from the old cleaning agent that we used to use, which is now been designated dangerous goods. This is a new cleaning agent we've developed with a Sydney company, and it is not dangerous goods, but it still cleans just as well. We also have included a bottle of what we call Hydro White. So when you get really mouldy air conditioners, and in some countries where it's very hot and humid, you will actually get mould stain. This can be used to get rid of the mould stain. So you might use it on 1 in every 30 air conditioners where the mould stain is really, really bad. That is a green product. It's a bit like, I don't know overseas, but what we use here, we call it bleach. You may have a different name for it. This is a bleach, but it's green. It's not nearly as toxic as what your household bleach product is. Also, you can see here, I'll just get a pointer. Jed, if you can zoom in on that. That is 5 litres or a gallon of our new scent, which is a mango and orange scent. It's got an antibacterial product in it. So you can actually mix that up at about 20 to 1. Just mix it in one of these little squirt bottles here. And you spray that into the air conditioner when you'll finish the clean. So you finish the clean, put it all back together, put the filters in, and then you give it the filters a spray with that, and it just gives it a nice fragrance. You get 2 squirt bottles. You get, along with your bags, you get 2 hoses. Now let me show you these hoses. These hoses are 1.2 and 1.5 metres long. So 1.2, 1.5, actually 1.3 and a metre, sorry, 1.3 and a metre. Now if you need to join them together, we give you one of these. So it just clicks into the end there like that, and it can click into that hose, and then you've got 2.5 metres of hose. And then that clips onto the top of your waste container here. Okay. And that clips onto the bag. Now, with this waste container, it will get dirty over time, and look, it won't look nice because it just gets a bit black inside with all of the dirt that comes out of the air conditioner. So I suggest that when you finish using one of these, keep this, because the lid off this, which screws to there, will fit straight onto there. So keep your old cleaning agent bottles, and you can use them as a waste container. What you've got to be careful of though is you must drill a little hole in here about 5 mil, so that when it's filling up with water, the air can be displaced. Okay, let's go. We've got here a toolbox. We'll pick these up as we go. So we don't pack it up for you normally. It's just a toolbox. You can put all of the tools that you get, and we'll just get Jed to start over here, and you can see you'll get a set of screwdrivers, a set of pliers and side cutters, a little shifter in case you have to undo nuts, especially on the cassettes to get the fan out. You get a temperature gun for checking the temperatures, and if you watch our complete clean process, you'll see us use that when we use it, how we use it. You get an anemometer which measures the airspeed off the barrel fan, so that if you've got a really dirty air conditioner, you measure the airspeed before you clean it, and then you measure the airspeed when you've finished cleaning it, and you'll notice a big difference. You can also go to our website or your resource centre, print off the service checklist that we use, so you can do exactly the same as we do here. You'll get some batteries. These batteries are for the remotes. All remotes around the world are the same. They all have the same batteries. So we just give you a few spare batteries because you should be checking the remotes when you're doing a clean and sanitising. We also give you for your toolbox some super glue, because inevitably, especially when you start, you're going to break a bit of plastic here and there. So it's just a matter of gluing it back together with a bit of super glue, and it fixes the problem. So just keep that aside. Just going back to the hose, that's 10 metres of extra hose. So you've already got, on the back of the machine here, you've already got 10 metres of hose. This is another 10 metres of hose where you can join them together, and or you can run a second gun off the same machine. So you can have two people working off the same machine if need be. Or if you're working up in a ceiling void, doing a fan coil unit in the ceiling, and you need more than 10 metres of hose, then you just clip that onto the other hose and you've got 20 metres. The pressure that you will lose at the pump is minimal. It's about 5 pounds that you'll lose. If you pull the hose 20 metres vertically high, you lose about 5 pound pressure on the pump. The tie-down straps that are actually tying the machine in place when you receive it, keep those, because you use those when you're transporting your machine in the back of your van or the back of your utility or whatever you're going to carry your machine around in. You need to use these to tie the machine down with. So don't throw them away when you take them off the machine. And again, we demonstrate that in some of the videos in the resource centre. That's a spare gun. So if you have two people working off a machine, you have a spare gun that you can plug into the end of that hose, or it's just a spare gun that you keep. These guns are pretty bulletproof. They're stainless steel. The trigger, this black bit, is made in fact in Italy, and the stems we make here locally because they have to be fabricated. You can't just buy them off the shelf. So this bit here is made, and it's made of stainless steel, so it will never break unless you run over it with a truck or something. This bit here is a micro switch for the top of the pump. So let me point over here. The micro switch, Jed, are you zooming in on that? The micro switch is this bit here on the top of the pump. Now we explain again in the videos in the resource centre, if you hunt the pump on fan, and you'll have to watch the video to see what I mean, eventually you may burn the little spades here out on the switch. So we give you a spare switch. If you don't hunt the pump, that switch, I've had machines for 3 and 4 years where we've never had to put a new switch on a pump. But if you get a technician that won't listen to what you're telling him, or they haven't watched the videos, then chances are you may burn that switch out. So you always need to train your technicians, make them watch the videos, make them understand how to operate the machine. Okay. This little bit here, that's your electrical cover for your bag. Again, that is covered in a video. That just goes across the straps that stretch across the top of the air conditioner. That covers the electrical box, just in case you happen to squirt water into it. Important that you put that on and use it when you're doing cleans. This little, I'll just see if Jed can zoom in. Can you get that, Jed? That's a very simple drain cleaner. In some air conditioners you cannot get the gun into the drain to blow it clean. So you can actually feed this in to the drain, and the nozzle of the gun, let me just show you here. The nozzle of the gun actually fits into there, so then you can blow the drain clean if you have to. So that's what that's for. Don't throw it away, because you don't know what it's for. This little thing here, the adapter, is what in fact plugs into here. So you'll see we have the Australian 3-pin plug. Because we don't make enough machines, we're only making about 100 machines a year, to have these adapters from all the countries in the world, it is just a too costlier exercise for us at the moment to have a fitting that fits your particular. So what we do is we supply you with an adapter that you can plug your particular power lead onto. So that just slips on there, and then that, in fact I think this is a US one, and that, no, it's Europe, and that just slips on there, and you can put your power lead onto that. Okay, let's keep going. These are a set of ramps. Now the ramps, again, there is a video on how to fit the ramps into your van or into your truck or whatever you're going to use to push the machine up. And it shows you how to do that. So we supply those. Again, they're quite expensive, these ramps, to make. I haven't got them on the option list, but we may actually put them on the option list as to whether you're going to use them or not. But I suspect that most of you will, because the machine weighs about 40 kilos dry. So it's not light to lift up and down with one person. This blue thing here is just a drop sheet. So if you're working or cleaning an air conditioner and you've got perhaps a TV underneath of it, or you've got something underneath of it, you just use this drop sheet to make sure that you don't get any water on whatever is underneath the air conditioner. So you might, we find in Australia, we've got a lot of air conditioners above big double beds, and the double beds sometimes are very heavy to move. So we simply cover the whole bed with a drop sheet so that we're able to stand on it and not mark any of the covers on the bed. These are two stiffeners. I'll just hold them up. These are the stiffeners that go in the bags. Now, over time, these stiffeners will break in the corners here. We're actually, at the moment, working with a plastic moulding company to mould a little section of plastic here that we can slip this arm into and slip this arm into, so that when it breaks we can just simply pull this out and replace the little plastic sleeve. They're probably going to cost 50 cents each, and we can produce them in the thousands, because at the moment when these break you either have to take them up or throw them away and get a new stiffener made. So hopefully we'll have that in the next 3 or 4 months. We'll have those little plastic corners done. Where's my pointer? Over here, you'll see there are two stretchy straps. These are the straps that stretch over the bags. They're spare ones. Now, They are a generic stretch strap. They're a grunt strap, which are made for the worldwide market, so you should be able to buy something like that in your local hardware store. The bucket and a packet of wipes are simply to clean up after you've done a clean. It allows you to dry up around the wall, and you can just take those home and re-wash them, and you'll be able to buy them locally as well. And we supply you with a good solid bucket. That's an Australian made bucket, to make sure that when you're filling it up with water, the handle doesn't break and you spill it all over somebody's floor. So that's the bucket. These little things here are your bag retainers. So when you're hanging a bag, you slip them down behind the air conditioner on the wall, and feed that strap into it, and it stops the bag slipping off the wall. Now again, there is a video there called hanging a bag, and it should actually explain these. So that's what those are. A mat. Again, we're thinking of not using the mat anymore. We're actually thinking of perhaps swapping the mat out and putting in a couple of, just come up onto the shirt here for me, Jed. We're thinking of perhaps putting in a couple of shirts rather than a mat, because I don't think too many people are actually using the mat and they're quite expensive. I think the shirts, which are now generic shirts, so they can be used in Australia or any country in the world, because all they have on them is the HydroKleen logo. Back down here, that's a high-vis vest. In some countries you'll be needing to wear a high-vis vest. In Australia you can't go into any commercial building or any commercial property without wearing, if you're a tradesman, without wearing a high-vis vest. This bit here is the C-Tech instructions. The C-Tech is this bit here in the machine. So that's what charges up your battery. So every night when you plug that in, when you've finished your cleans, you'll see a little orange light come up. When it comes round to green, here, it's fully charged. You don't have to switch it off. You can leave it plugged in, because it'll switch itself off once the battery is charged, and switch itself on if the battery's losing amperage. So that's the C-Tech. These C-Techs here are made in Sweden, so they're the best that you can buy. You can't buy a better battery charger than that. I think in the 9 years that we've been operating, we've had 2 of these fail in 9 years. This little bit here is a non-contact voltage stick. So if you are isolating your air conditioners, you can simply run a voltage stick over the high leads, the power leads, and make sure that your air conditioner is indeed isolated. So that's what that is. You also get a headlamp. Like me, as you get older, you get blinder, so you can't see. So we encourage all technicians to make sure they're using a headlamp when they're cleaning. It just makes sure that they get every little bit of dirt and mould and whatever else is stuck up in the air conditioner. It just allows you to have a better look. So that's a headlamp. You get a mask. Again, I think it's important that you show people that when you're cleaning mould and bacterial biofilm out of air conditioners, you need to be wearing a mask, especially when you turn it on first, because we have had techs in Australia that have got sick from mould infection through not wearing masks, so it's really important that you do. This little blower here, again, when we did away with the compressor, the air compressor in the machine, we actually put a 12-volt connection in the front of the machine here now, and this is now forms part of your air, if you like. So if you need to dry a receiver board, or you've inadvertently put water somewhere where you shouldn't, you can use this. You just simply plug it into here and switch it on, and it gives you very, very strong volume of air. So that's now your air supply. So what we've done is we've taken all of the compressor components out of the old machine. We've now put 2 pumps in the machine, so you don't get a spare pump down here because it's already in the machine, but you do get a spare switch, but you also get access. And you can plug anything. You can plug your mobile phone into this. You can plug in anything you like. It's just a 12 volt, like a cigarette lighter in a car. So I think we've covered most things. As you unpack this, we're going to pack all of this now back onto this pallet and show you what it looks like when you receive it. So Jed is going to spend the next probably 4 hours packing this down, and before we wrap it, we're going to show you what it looks like when you receive it. And then you need to lay it out like this and use that checklist as I showed you here. Use that checklist to mark everything off. And then we want you to tell us, and we will have Wendy ask you, once you've unpacked your HEP, that in fact everything was in the package. Okay? Because if you come back to us 6 months later and say something is missing, we're probably going to be a little bit thoughtful about whether we replace it or not, because it gets too far down the track. Okay, I think we've really covered unpacking a HEP. When you receive your HEP, it's an exciting time for you. If you have any queries or you're not quite sure on what to do with some of the equipment that's on it, you can always just send us an email, or we're always on the end of a telephone, so you can ring us. We implore you that you must watch all the videos. There are, and I know there's a lot of videos to watch, but we implore that you watch all the videos because they're there for you to learn to use this equipment properly. So I thank you for watching. We wish you the best of luck, and it's going to be an exciting time for you when you do receive this. So thank you.
Hello once again. Just to explain, when you receive your HydroKleen equipment package, this is what it's going to look like without the wrapping on it. So we haven't wrapped this. This was the one that we've just previously talked about. It was all laid out on the floor. So we've now packed all of that onto this pallet. So you can see the machine is lying down. The machine is firmly secured to the pallet. So everything is tied down, and the bags will actually sit across the top of this, and then we shrink wrap it. So when you get it, you're going to have to take all of the shrink wrap off and then slowly unpack it. But you can see it takes about 4 to 5 hours just to pack this up properly. So there you have it. When you receive your HEPs, this is what it looks like.